Today is Wednesday, August 27th, 2025. I'd like to call the Southwest Supervisory Union Board of Directors meeting to order. First on the agenda are public comments. Do we have any public comments? See anyone here and nobody online? Next on the agenda is the board retreat. I know that we have two members that are running a few minutes behind, but they can join us. And so if there aren't any objections, I'd like to leave the room and go into the board retreat with Tracy Rend.
May I have a question?
Sure.
Why don't we do this, the rest of the business first? It doesn't look like it's long. It's gonna be kind of painful to come out and have to do this business afterwards for me.
That is certainly a path that we can take. There could be some conversations. I mean, it doesn't look like it's long. There could be some conversations that could take some time. And so that's part of I know that there's a number of things family wise that people are kind of working through. So I don't want to get into a situation where we have to have the business portion of this meeting, the end, to your point, and not have quorum for that.
Yeah.
We can't be in that position.
Right.
Nor do I want to get into the goal setting process and have to lose people because of family obligations and not have full participation there. So, those are the two things that we have before us that have kind of helped shape the agenda the way they are, but we can certainly alter it at this time.
Because I think the board, the agenda, the consent agenda, finance, that all needs to be voted on. So it'd be nice just to do that, let Richard go. But then he just had to stick around or watch us later as well. But
Additionally, I would think that so people who may be watching us through Cat TV would rather see the business done first rather than wait 2 hours
Yes,
for us to come back.
Participating.
Sure.
okay.
So
It's like,
the process for that, just help me with that.
We need to make a move the board retreat at the end of the agenda. And I'm more than happy to do that if have the discussion.
Sure.
I'll make the motion, move the board retreat to the end of the agenda. So we get business done and let the community members go.
Okay.
Second it.
So we have a motion made by Jeff, seconded by Glenn. Any discussion, further discussion? All those in favor?
aye.
Those opposed? Any abstentions? All right, so we will now move into operations, which there are none. That was third on the agenda. So now we're into finance for the treasurer's report, which
Has it been posted?
it was not the last I looked.
Well, I'm pretty sure we have sufficient funds to continue on.
You're right. All right, item 5 on the agenda is the consent agenda, which are minutes, warrants, retirements, leave of absences, resignations, and nominations. If there are no objections, I'd like to move those as one.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Glenn, seconded by Ray. Any abstentions? All right, hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, policies. Next up, number 2600, Superintendent of Schools Evaluation and Review. Request is to adopt that policy. Before we do that, are there any, is there anything within that policy that the conversation around goals that we would be having might shape or alter or change? No, I think you're good. We'll meet the timeline. Meet the timeline.
September 30th is the timeline. that we want to make sure that we have our goals set.
The one thing that gives me pause about that as I was reviewing it is September 30th. And this would be just something for the board to consider. The timeline is really compressed for that first evaluation for Tim.
We don't ever plan on having him leave, so we're good.
That, when you have the time, yeah, I'm just trying to think about the time, we will be and as long as there's consensus and understanding that we would be evaluating the superintendent, in this case, because of this timeline, on 3 to 4 months worth of work.
That being stated, Superintendent Colkeen had always wanted us to set them by July 1st so that there was ample time to be able to coordinate that. And this is a situation where we have a new superintendent. That September 30th, it's no later than, so that we do give our superintendent time to actually complete or meet or at least work toward goals. It's our prerogative to determine just how difficult those goals are and working with the superintendent. We can clearly see there are certain goals he could not possibly meet, and that would not be to his advantage or ours
To sign him.
to decide to give him those.
Understood.
But in that first round, it's really goal setting. I mean,
There's two pieces though. There's a piece for our superintendent goals that he may have, and then we have as a board goals that we are, and hopefully they line up. But we have goals that we would like for our SVSU,
right.
which is what we're working on this evening.
I'm comfortable with the policy. As Sandy said, it does leave you room to, you're by September 30th, we have a sense of what we're working toward. By mid-year, we have feedback, and then it gives you another deadline in the spring, which will set us up to have goal setting done earlier. I'd like to see us in the future doing board retreat in May or that would give us kind of a jump start on the summer. So I think I'm comfortable with the policy as is. I think it's a pretty straightforward process.
And the other piece of this was that we wanted to make sure that the board that is sitting is the board that's evaluating, so that we wanted to have the evaluation process completed before March elections. So we don't end up with a new group of people who may not have the inside knowledge that we have as a board.
The only other question, and the policy committee may have brought it up, and we have Tracy here too, who may be able to shed some light on it, is not wanting to operate in a vacuum. Does the policy as written work in parallel with VSBA or state regulation or state recommendations for the evaluation?
That's a great question. So the School Board Association actually shared their rubric, which is the rubric that we will be using. It's theirs. They created it. We did not. They were very kind to do that for us. So yeah, that's a great question. And the other piece of this is not just our board. We're looking for input from every board.
Tracy, do you have anything to add?
I think, what I was planning to do in the board retreat portion is talk about the transition between board goal setting to the work at the next meeting, which is, superintendent goal setting, and help you think about how those fit together and the unique considerations for the first year superintendent situation. I would love to be able to talk through how you envision that going so that I can make sure that the way that I support you in starting this phase of the process allows you to follow the policy as you intended to. If you would, whether or not you adopt the policy, I have feedback that I'm happy to share with you at a time that's right.
So we have the policy, 2600 to adopt as the board. Do I have a motion to adopt policy 2600 as written?
I will make that motion.
Recommend.
Made by Glenn, seconded by Jeff.
And forgive me, I just have to ask, I've never seen,
I'm Celeste Keel from San
hello, nice to meet you. I'm just looking over, I'm like, you know what, I have to be the guy that said.
Her
it,
name,
so-
yeah.
Yeah,
So we have a motion and a second.
Yeah.
Do we have any discussion, further discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Any abstentions? Right. Up next is the superintendent's report.
I will try to be brief. I want to maximize the time we spend doing goal setting, but thank you. And Celeste, was nice. We met earlier this week. I could talk a little bit about why I was in her office space earlier in the week, but let me say this. Some of you have already heard the update on hiring, sitting in your various boards. So I apologize for repeating some of this, but I thought it would be helpful to give you the most up-to-date numbers. The SVSU, as an employing district, has 117 licensed teaching positions. Currently, 7 of those are vacant. 3 of those have already been filled with contracted services. There are other vacancies at the SVSU level, including paraprofessionals, a clinician, a bus driver in Arlington, and the assistant superintendent. As an SU, all school districts, you have approximately 811 full-time employees. And as of today, there are 22 vacancies. 19 of those I've already talked about as an SU, paraprofessionals, clinicians, bus drivers. But at the at the elementary school district, there are also 3 additional vacancies at this point. There have been long-term subs arranged at that already. So for a total across the district, there are 22 vacancies. Plans are in place for a number of those, and we're going to have, we'll have some more updates as we go forward. I won't rehash everything that Nick provided. If you would like an electronic copy of that, please feel free to let the chair know. I'm happy to provide that for you too. So that's the one piece we shared, and Nick was some context as far as Vermont challenges of hiring. So there was some interesting links in there. I'm happy to send you that information if you'd like to see. And there's also several positive things that the SVSU has done to meet the need, and we can talk about that too.
I think that's in the folder, right?
It is.
Yeah.
So if you'd like to take a look at that. And then under number 2, let me do this. Let me back up for just a second. My hope is that reporting to this board, I've talked to a couple of chairs. In my brain organizing, I would like to start my presentation cycle at this board meeting, which calendar wise is the last meeting of the month.
Mhm.
So I'm catching up, but what I would like to do is going forward, any presentation that is going to happen by the month would start here. So if I was in my plan, I would be having Holly presenting here first, and then we would do the building updates as we visit the various school boards. So please be aware of that as we go forward. Purpose of these reports is hopefully in areas that this board is responsible for under the district quality standards. That includes business operations, facility management, and governance. I talked about this at some of the board meetings already, but in my brain and as I'm organizing information for you to consider, August, we talked about staffing. In September, we will talk about building, where your buildings are as far as work that has been done, things to consider going forward. And in October, we're going to have an update on grants, which we hopefully will get a little more clear picture from both the state and the federal level at that level. The idea being that these are areas that this board specifically has purview over, and that will help you inform you as we go into November and December and we start talking about budgets. January would be student achievement, give you a sense of, are we moving kids forward? So hopefully that helps you kind of organize your thoughts as we come into it, but that's what I'm going to be working on. The other thing I wanted to give an entry update. Some of you have heard this. I have connected with a mentor, Elaine Pickney. She is retired superintendent from up north, CVU, for over a dozen years. I work with a facilitator, Tracy Wren, retired superintendent. I have met with all the individual principals and directors at this point. We have successfully completed our Leadership Academy, which is the annual meeting of the principals and directors. I'm meeting with board chairs. I have proposed a drop-in session available to folks at the end of the month. That email will be going out. We'll see if that works for folks. Again, the idea being talking to board chairs, coming to this board's meeting and telling you this is the work that we'll be doing in the coming month. Hopefully, as you represent all the boards, you can carry that back to your membership. I've completed new superintendent orientation, a very interesting opportunity. There are 7 of us in the grand state of Vermont who are new to the position this year, as never been superintendents before. Participated in board training with this group, marched in the Battle Day Parade. Glad I wasn't a reenactor dressed head to toe in wool. I have been meeting with regional superintendents. We had our most recent meeting on Monday. Randy Lowe, who is the superintendent of the BRSU, and I are scheduled to meet again in 2 weeks' time, as we are connecting a little more frequently since we both reside in the same county. Just want to acknowledge this was the first day of school for kids. Was at the meet and greet in Pownell to start the day. Little people, excitement of first day of school. I highly recommend it as a way to start your day. We then traveled to Woodford, a lovely collection of individuals there, including the twins in 5th and 6th grade classroom. And then we traveled to Benell. Tomorrow we will be in Molly Stark and Monument. We'll be in Shaftesbury and Arlington on Friday. And we'll be at the MAUs on Tuesday when we return. The last thing is probably the thing that piqued everybody's attention as they rolled through the agenda. Let me give the rationale first, and then I'll request the board's consideration. Recognizing that current staff have stepped up and helped me with my transition as the new superintendent, I have recognized in just 8 weeks this is not a sustainable model. The role of assistant superintendent supports curriculum, instruction, assessment, grant management, and supporting administrators through the observation and evaluation process. My request for this board to consider is to post and hire an interim assistant superintendent to serve for the 2025-2026 school year with a very clear, I want to be clear with everybody on this, that we would post for a permanent position sometime in early December of this year, followed by a full search process to be completed by either late March or late winter or very early spring in 2026 with a full-time permanent assistant superintendent in place for the 26-27 school year. So my request of the board this evening is support for me posting and hiring for the position of interim assistant superintendent for the current school year.
Do you have a sense, Tim, of what the focus will be, given that it's an interim position? Like,
Sure.
will you have specific? It usually takes someone 6 months,
Sure.
in theory, to kind of onboard into a new position. So
Yeah.
will there be an opportunity to have very defined
Yeah.
expectations?
Yeah. So I will tell you right now, the areas where in many ways, I just need another administrator available to give direction, to follow up on.
Please take care of this, please.
Yes. And curriculum instruction and assessment's a big area, especially as we move forward into budgeting and things like that. I need some help just keeping an eye on the grant. There are several grant deadlines between now and December 1st. So just having an extra set of eyes helping me and being available for resource. Right now I have 6 directors coming to me for direction, which is entertaining in a way, but it would be helpful to have an assistant to kind of split that up and move forward. Grant management, I've said, and also supporting principals. We have new principals in 2 buildings. I have new assistant principals already working to connect Adam Carmichael and Ty Snell with mentors at the VPA, but another administrator helping with that day-to-day supervision as well. So I
Yeah,
would
just having recently gone through that process for the assistant superintendent search, given where you are in the life cycle of hiring opportunities, it could be challenging to find someone
Absolutely.
who could come in and work independently as an effective, you
Yeah.
know, full assistant superintendent. So,
So a benefit or an observation, I will say that, an observation is that within the first week of sitting down with directors, I asked, you know, what role did the superintendent have for you in the most recent 2 years, and what did the assistant superintendent? And I took things off the assistant superintendent's plate and assumed responsibility for those things. It still leaves responsibilities to be done. For an interim, I would imagine that we'll pare that down even more. As you said, it would be, you're going to have to limit what you ask them to do because they need to be up and running pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But I want to be clear with this board, December, I want to post, use the holiday break, folks looking to do other things, do a full blown search and not maybe the compact 6 weeks that we did to try to hire a high school and assistant superintendent.
Yep.
I think we might have a even more broad field of candidates for us.
Yeah.
And maybe not quite the rush that we feel like, oh, we got to hire positions. I think we'll find a good candidate.
yeah.
Something
Glenn's
to
been-
Nicole's point is there's gonna be a lag time before we can even start to get somebody worked up to then come in to take on the 6 months of being on board. Does it make sense to look locally for someone that could fill an interim role and then roll out the full procedural way with which we got to a superintendent?
The answer is yes. I think any posting for an interim, though, I think you have to post it both outwardly and inwardly. Do I think there are folks in the community who might say, "Hey, I'll step up. I'll do this for 6 to 9 months. This may be something I'm interested in long term." I would be clear with any candidate that we pick for an interim. This is not a pathway to a permanent position. You'd have to repost. You'd have to
Yeah.
reapply. You'd have to go through the application process.
Okay, that's interesting to me. The other thing that I heard was that you would look to hire them. I'm more of the understanding that you would bring the candidate forward to the board to hire.
The assistant.
Not for the assistant. What I'm asking for is for an interim, I would advocate for a more streamlined situation. I would do a shortened application period. I would absolutely organize an interview committee. I would go through them. If I'm really fortunate, I'd like to be back in front of you in a month with a name for consideration. Yeah, I got that look before. But I mean, quite honestly, by the time you're in October 1st, you're already 3 months into the year.
That's
So
where I started with the lag time.
some help, get us through and allow us to then do a full blown search and find a candidate for the long term would be helpful.
How would we put that out to interested parties?
I would go through Nick, use the various channels. I would also share that inwardly. I mean, there's newsletters and emails to faculty and staff and community that would be aware of that.
Ray's been waiting patiently.
Well, I'm fine with getting an interim. I'm going to question whether we will be looking for a full-time person, a new person, based on what happens with redistricting.
Okay.
Committee.
I have a feeling we'll be having that conversation as part of the next exercise.
think so.
Would it, I guess, when I asked about kind of scope of responsibility, is it an assistant to the superintendent or is it an assistant
An
superintendent?
assistant superintendent. Yeah. I have an administrative assistant already. But I'm looking for someone with administrative certification who can give direction to directors and direct reports.
It'll be interesting to see what you get.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I'll make the motion that do we need? Yes, I'll make the motion that we're supportive of posting for an interim assistant superintendent.
Okay, motion made by Ray. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Jeff. Any discussion?
More than what we had.
Further discussion?
Good luck.
Thank you.
So interest parties should reach out to Nick then.
Yep, well, it'll be in the posting. If you have any interest, you send a letter and a resume.
That's a vote, we had a motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Uh,
Those opposed? Are there any abstentions?
Thank you.
Chair's report will be brief because of the great work we have before us, but I want to thank this body for the first night of our board retreat. I want to thank this board for the work that we will be doing here this evening. And even more, I think I can speak for myself and the board. When I say, very exciting moments in the house this morning, myself with the freshman starting at MAU for her first time, and a lot of jitters and stuff with various kids and instructors or teachers and staff and all of the people who do great work in this building and the buildings across our district and our supervisory union. So everyone have a great year, have a safe year, have a healthy year, and thank you for the work that thank you for the work that you will be doing over these next several months.
Thanks.
Here.
FYI is the budget status report. I'm not sure that got posted
It
either.
wasn't.
Yes, it was. As folks move to the next room.
And one second, I just have one more FYI. I ask this every year since I've been on the board. So I'd ask for Tim because it continues to happen. Can we be mindful of looking at the school calendars to make sure we prevent any conflicts that impact our community on major religious holidays in regards to open house, parent teacher nights? We continue to put things on those nights on major holidays. So I have a list. I have a list because some holidays, especially, Muslim, Jewish holidays start the night before and they show up on calendars as one day, but there can be 2 or more days. So there is some confusion and we continue to do this. So
I'm happy to support that, Jeff.
I'm happy to sit down with you some other time.
Well, there is policy that supports the formation of a calendar committee, and I know that usually is just counting days when we get out and all that good stuff, but I'm happy to revisit that. It's not the first community that's had concerns about where school events fall on.
Oh, like I said, it's been in the school district for 10 years. This happens 7 years in a row.
Okay. I will see you on committee meeting.
That does involve other
Yes.
SUs around here.
Yes, but these are open house nights,
Yeah.
student teacher nights.
Pretty soon, it's just gonna be a state calendar anyway. So
But these are nights.
Not the
that
open-
these-
these are local.
These are local events.
Yeah, these are local events, so you can move the parent teacher nights and open house nights instead of doing it on Yom Kippur. Move it one day.
Yeah.
Don't put on major religious holidays.
Sure.
Cause you never put something on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day night.
Right.
But yet we continue to do it with other religions.
fair.
Apparently the agenda changed
Yeah.
and we are not
We're going to the
retreating first. I would have tried to attend via the call on my phone, and I know that we were discussing business first.
It was
It's-
board, just so it was a board decision that happened right when we first started. So
so I just want to revisit something that I had hoped to discuss in relation to the licensing and fees, and I said this at the Mount Anthony, or not fees, I'm sorry, licensing and hiring. Did you discuss that?
Mhm.
That was so great. So I said this at the Mount Anthony School Board meeting last week, and I just wanted to repeat it here. That I think investments in apprenticeship models and teacher support models to help folks who have provisional or emergency licenses attain their regular teaching licenses should be supported and considered when it's budget time.
If they're doing the work right.
It'll be an interesting budget season.
Eh,
One brief comment, the rate that we have of unfilled positions is only 2.6%. That's pretty good. Thank you.
Yes. Well, that's part of the board support too, so. And as board support, Renee has left you a stat for your autograph. I will leave it right there in Celeste if you want, as you move. We're gonna be moving to the next room once Scott told me to pause the recording.
Well, so before we pause, just to make sure that anybody watching is clear, the business portion of our meeting this evening is adjourned. And we will be moving into the next room for the board retreat portion of our meeting.
And how will we, Jess, is it your intent to stay on remotely to participate in that, or how are you envisioning that?
So I can only actually be available for about 20 more minutes. I have to transport kids from one practice to another in a different town. So it may just make sense for me to not.
Okay. I can spend time with you and Todd later to update you on what transpires.
Okay, that would be great. Thanks.
Okay.
Let me know when you want to pause. I think we can pause.
Recording stopped.
We had to make a motion.
No, we're not, it's not an executive session.
We did come back and make a motion to close at the last time.
Yeah.
So we can, I've just
And you
paused.
might have an action or two to take at the end. I know the next normal meeting date is on an open house night, so we might want to be proactive and schedule a different SVSU night for
Is it a
September.
holiday also?
It's also a holiday.
Hmm.
And it's also high school open house night.
Yeah, that's what I knew, open house. I was not attuned to holiday. I apologize.
All right, we can, do we want to make a decision now or do we want to make a
We
decision?
can make it afterwards.
Okay.
We bring anything we do.
Don't need to bring anything, but you're welcome to bring anything that you want and help you feel comfortable.
Back in open session, just wanted to notify those who may be out there watching. Next meeting will be, the next meeting of the Southwest Vermont Supervisory Union Board of Directors will be Thursday, September 25th. That is a change from what is the normal schedule. And with that, may I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Made by Glenn,
I'll second.
seconded by Kate. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thanks, everyone.
Something we're going to discuss